Welcome to Football or Soccer, the podcast with me, Sam Palmer, Tony Tafe, Chris Dyson, and our very special guest, Derrick Williams of Atlanta United in the MLS. And we're going to ask you some questions.
Let's go.
Join us again, 2 podcasts in a row.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bob.
We're really stringing him out this one. He's come on holiday and we're making him work like a dog.
It's fine. I don't mind it.
Yeah, so I suppose we want to know a little bit more about you and what brought you to the US.
Yep.
So you started where? Oh, I suppose actually talk about your nationality because your nationality is is big.
Tends the accents all over the place. So I was born in Germany. My mom's fully Irish. My dad's fully American. He was in the American Army.
Yeah,
He was based in Germany. I was born, moved to America till I was 7.
yeah.
When I was 7, I moved to Ireland. That's where I call home. That's where all my friends are. That's what's kind of made me who I am today. Like all my friends, family, and stuff like that. There. 15, I moved to England. Played with Aston Villa. Did
Did you move because you were scouted?
Yeah.
Where did you get seen? Where were you playing?
So I was playing for my local team called Tremor, and then I was playing for like the county called Waterford. I played in a tournament called the Kennedy Cup. So I went on a few trials, to be honest with you. I went to United, I went to City, Villa, Ipswich, and then they all offered me contracts.
All in the same. Did you do it all in one go, or
Nah, I did it.
keep going backwards and forwards?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I was going from like 11 till I was, 12 till I was 15. I made my
Wow.
decision at 15. So I went to about like all of them about 5 or 6 times, different times. But it was good. I loved it because I was so
Did anyone
young.
go over with you, or did you go on your own?
My mom would come over with me.
Living with you, or
We'd be in a hotel, but sometimes I'd go by myself.
wow?
It's funny because I look back now and I think it was a big step to move by myself at 15. Like I obviously have girls now. I'm thinking they're not leaving the house. Till they're
Imagine
20.
sending your kid. Like it's weird, isn't it? Like we look now, like as
Like
fathers,
your boys now.
like sending my boy on his own, like at 15. I'm knowing they're going to be safe.
Yeah.
Like and trusting that they're going to go. What did you go in digs or?
I went into digs, yeah. So it was funny because 15, just moved to Birmingham, and I was from Tremor, a place in Ireland, small. I think the population's like 10,000 or something like that. And then I remember the first weekend I went there, and just there's like old couple. I had 2 lads that were older than me, and I'll just go by myself. Got the train into Birmingham. It took me like half an hour, and I'm just there walking around Birmingham, like, what is going on here? Like, I was there getting lost because obviously back then you didn't have like GPS and stuff. I was getting lost. I was like jumping on random trains, but it was fun though. I was like, I just embraced it and just enjoyed it.
What made you choose Villa, Derrick, out of all those offers?
So it went down. I didn't really want to go City, even though they were spending the money then. Robinho was there.
Oh, so it was at the start of the takeover.
Yeah, Sven Goran Eriksson was the manager. I just didn't really like it there. Ipswich, I really liked. Good club. The people were there really nice. But I was kind of like, it wasn't a Premier League club. And then Villa were known for having a good academy. United, I was
They're a
kind of
proper
like,
football club, Villa, aren't they?
Yeah.
Proper football club.
mate, Villa's it's unbelievable there. The training ground. When I was at United, it was Ravel Morrison, Jesse Lingard, all them kind of players.
Pogba, was he there then?
He wasn't there then.
No.
He signed, I think, a year after. But I kind of sat down. I was like, realistically, am I going to play for United?
Yeah.
I was kind of like, no, I'll have more chance at Villa. And even the youth manager at the time, Tony McAndrew, he was unbelievable for me. He was just exactly what I needed. He was that old school, tough. He would get on you, like shout at you, but it was everything you needed to get you ready for men's football. So I was buzzing. I went there.
I want to just ask you about that. 'Cause now we've seen the
Over that
change.
time,
Oh, go on.
you must have played with some players.
Yeah, the
There must
res.
have been some amazing players that you played with.
Yeah,
Who's the best? Best
bet-
player you played with?
So I grew up playing with Grealish. So he was doing everything he's doing now back then. And it's just like, you can just tell. So I think I'm 4 years older than him, and he was training with us, playing with us, and you're just like, this kid's unbelievable.
Well, 4 years.
Did he
so
have
he's
those?
4 years
Did he
younger.
have those big calves at that age?
He did. Yeah.
I keep seeing videos, and I'm like, his calves are bigger than his thighs. I don't even know how
But he was
that
in the gym a
works.
lot. He would lift a lot. Declan Rice, I played one game with him with Ireland. He was unbelievable. I can't really think of anyone else at the moment. But
they'll
them-
do, by
them
the
two
way.
stand out.
Yeah, exactly.
What about Morrison, though? Ravel Morrison was... everybody says he was one of the most naturally gifted players that anybody's played with.
I played with him last year at DC United. He was there. Rooney. brought
Oh,
him there.
sorry. I thought you said you played with him.
How was he?
Who?
Ravel Morrison.
He was all right. He was carrying an injury.
Yeah.
You can tell he got talent, but I've seen so many players come and go with just talent. Like, talent's
What's the difference?
mentally. You have to have that chip on your shoulder, to that resilience to keep going through. Because football, like, there's not many ups.
Yeah.
Cause
Yeah, there's not actually, is there?
it's not. And one thing, like, I've noticed when I get older, being a centre defender as well, you can see a lot of goals. If you can see the goal, I'll say probably 70% is probably people look at the centre halves and go, what can they do better? Which is understandable. So you get blamed for losing games a lot. So yeah, there's not a lot of ups. So you have to really love it.
Mental toughness.
Yeah, and stick through it.
Yeah.
I can't remember what I was talking about before that, but
I'm
talking about
I'm
how long have you
assuming
been in the
you've
MLS?
spent
No,
a
mental
fair bit of
toughness.
time
You were
with
saying
Wayne
just
Rooney.
about. So actually, that's a question I want to ask.
no, you asked about Villa, didn't you? About the players I played with. Sorry, I got a story actually. So Martin O'Neill was there. They had Ashley Young, James Milner, Petrov, Heskey. These players. I remember.
Men.
Yeah, and they're James
Collins, Richard Dunn.
Yeah, and they're like
Who's keeper?
Brad Fiedel, Guzan, Shea Given.
Was Bosnich
I thought
there?
it was shaky. I was going to say
Who?
no.
This is
Bosnich.
post-
How old do you think
post-Bosnich.
Derrick is? You idiot.
I'm not that old.
He was already on the old bugle by then. Sorry, Mark. Yeah, God, sorry.
I'll never forget one of the one of my first trainings with them. I remember I was so nervous, and you go up there and you want to do well, and we're doing 11v11, and I was marking Heskey. So obviously, I was thinking, right, big Emile Heskey, I'm gonna get pinned or whatever. He's gonna set it off. So when you said about the last podcast about players moving you, he's seen me coming like aggressive young kid, like want to do well, want to try tackle. So one of the midfielders had the ball. He comes to feet. He shouts, "Yes, yes!" So I'm there like ready. I'm like, I'm gonna smash him here. He's gonna take a touch, and he just spun, and he left me. Like, I was pretty quick back then, and you wouldn't think Heskey was known for his pace.
Yeah.
But because he was so quick, like sharp, he was 5 steps ahead of me. So he knew what I was gonna do. He spun me.
You were still running forward.
Mate, I turned around, the ball was in the net.
Oh my God.
And I'll never forget it. Ashley Young, one of the worst bollockings I've ever got.
Really?
Oh, what? I was probably 17.
And he was a winger then.
Yeah, he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like, bah, bah. And but it gets
That
you-
was his mentality.
yeah,
as well.
they're winners. Like,
Yeah.
it's next level. And
That's why he's
It's
still playing today.
Interesting about Heskey as well, because he took a load of flack over the years, didn't he, for not being.
mate, what a player he was in
and
training.
and that's
Oh
my
God.
point.
And anyone who ever played with Emile Heskey,
Yeah, said that.
Shearer, Owen, all say what a player he was.
Do you know 5-a-sides?
Yeah.
He was one of the best I've ever seen. Like,
Really?
Yeah, because he'd have a chop on. Like, you wouldn't think he'd hold it up, chest it. You think he's going to lay off. He just chops it, and then his finishing was unbelievable as well. So
Won the treble with Europe, didn't he? With Liverpool. He was part of that team, wasn't he?
Probably.
When you won
Yeah.
when you won that fake treble.
I was going to say it wasn't the
No, but I mean like
it wasn't a
decent
treble.
treble.
I think
domestic
it was
cup
the
treble or whatever it is, and
I think
the
it was
Europa League,
quadruple.
wasn't it?
We won five trophies that season, Samuel.
What are you counting? Like the
Get outta
Audi
here
Cup
with
as
your
well.
treble.
The
Don't give him any more ammo.
God,
Don't
Derek.
give him any more
So you
ammo.
move on from Villa. You have a game in the Premiership. Do you remember who it was against?
Yeah, QPR away. So that was the most nervous I've ever been. So
Did you start?
Nah.
No,
I was
come
on
on.
the bench. So at Villa, I was doing like 2 or 3 years of just traveling, being on the bench. I remember someone went down injured. It was quite early. I played 37 minutes. I know exactly the minutes. So I was warming up. Assistant manager shouts, and I'm warming up. I think it was Stephen Ireland and someone else. And he's shouting, he's pointing like this. And I was like, so I tapped Stevie, and I was like, he's shouting at you, like, go on. So Stevie starts jogging, and he's like, he runs back. He's like, no, it's you. And I turned, I never forget, I went like that, me? He was like, yeah. And I shit my pants.
Did you?
Literally the most.
Did the ground start feeling a lot smaller? Like,
Yeah. I just remember I sprinted up because like I don't want him to change his mind.
yeah.
So I sprinted up, got my shirt on, and then he was talking. I just didn't know. I can't remember one word he said. I can't really remember much. I remember I came on left wing back. Their left back had the ball, and I had a striker just on my shoulder. And I was like, there's no way he can get this ball here. Like, there's 2 defenders, and he just whipped it. And I was like, and I just I scrambled, got it, flicked it on, went out for a throw, and I was like, fucking hell. Like,
I got to be on my toes.
yeah, that was it. I was like, you have to like really expect like the unexpected with these players. That was the main thing I felt with Messi as well. So like constantly you have to constantly be on your toes ready. It's mentally like draining.
Here's a question. I've always thought this. You know when you're sitting on the bench, right? You're cold as anything, and they get you on quick. But you're not warmed up, right? So you're not really stretched. Like, you know, like you see some people, they give a couple of like things like that, but you're not actually warmed up. Like, so how do you not go and pull something then?
Nowadays,
You've done a warm up before.
Nowadays you are, because they have the fitness coach will go down and warm you up. But coming on as a sub is one of the hardest things you can do.
Because the game's in full flow.
Yeah. So obviously when you start the game, you go out of breath, you get your second wind. Mate, you come on and you're just sprinting around. You don't get your second wind. So you're just blowing.
Yeah.
So it's tough. But yeah, I came on, I was marking Sean Wright Phillips. So yeah, so I just remember coming up and he's like up to my chest and he's just dribbling, taking me down the line.
He was a good player, Sean Wright Phillips.
Amazing.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Tarat played. There's some good players. Bosingwa.
Bobby Zamora there.
No, he wasn't there then. I can't remember who the striker was, but we drew
Charlie
1-1.
Austin might have been.
Maybe he was there. But I remember after the game, I played pretty well. So this is one thing that doesn't happen anymore. So after on the coach, just made your debut, you're buzzing. I was like, yes, like on my phone, texting my mom, whatever. And then Shay Given goes, right, make the teas, coffees. So I was like,
really?
Back down to earth.
yeah. So I was like, fucking hell. So they're making the teas and coffees, bringing it back down. And I remember Delph saying, oh, you're going to be with us a lot more now. You did well. Because Delph was really well. He was really good for me. He'd always talk to you, like try to big you up and stuff like that. So he was like, "Yo, you'll kick on now." So I was buzzing. So that was around December time, and then the way it panned out, no one really got injured. Rest of the season, didn't play at all. I was obviously training with them, traveling, and that kind of gets a bit boring. You want to go play. You want to try and make a name for yourself. So I turned 20. End of season comes, and I have a meeting with Paul Lambert, and he was like, "Look, he was like, you done really well. Next year, we want you to go on loan, play men's football, just get you used to it." Thinking back now, I'm kind of like, I probably should. Well, I don't regret it, but I'm thinking, imagine if I did do that, stayed, and then I came back, and I got lucky.
Yeah.
An injury or whatever. But I was like, in my head at the time, I was like, no, I want to go play. I want to try and make a name for myself.
Yeah.
I want to take a step down to maybe come back up. And I was okay with doing that. And Bristol City came in. So I was like, right, I can go play, 20 years old, play whatever, 40 games in a season, men's football, or I can stay, go on loan. But when you're a loan player, it's completely different than playing. Like, you might play, you might not.
Right.
When you're a manager's player and he wants you to bring you in. So went to Bristol, Sean O'Driscoll. He wanted me.
What league were they in at the time?
League One.
League One, yeah.
Yeah, they just got relegated. But
so you weren't coming into a happy club, really?
No. Sean O'Driscoll came in and he was known for like his style of football that he wants to play, which suited me. Because at the time I was 6'1", skinny. I got bullied a lot. Like I wasn't physically ready for it, but he played me. I got Young Player of the Season that year. I played about 50 games. So it was good in that way. Get me ready for men's football. So yeah, it's funny because I look back and think maybe I would have got lucky at Villa and played, but
Villa also were on a different trajectory at that time as well. It wasn't like Villa when they were going down, was it? They were with Ashley Young and everyone. They were pushing for Europe then, weren't they?
So it was after that.
It was just up. So it was the bit of the.
It was the slow decline. But yeah, I love my time at Bristol. It was good.
And so then the move come for Blackburn.
Yeah.
What happened? How did you get?
So I was at Bristol for 3 years. We got promoted, stayed up. A new manager came in, Lee Johnson, and he wasn't having me, to be honest with you.
Knows what he's talking about, Lee Johnson.
by the end of my Bristol time, I was playing left wing back, so I got even skinnier, and I was just running up and down. So I was like, I went to him, I said, I want to play centre half, and he's like, you're too small. And I was like,
was he right?
At the time, he was.
Yeah.
Because the centre half at the time was Nathan Baker. He was 6'3", big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And back then, football was 2 centre halves had to be 6'4", 6'5".
If anyone can see behind Derrick, my daughter is standing behind, pulling faces. Sorry.
Perfect.
So yeah, so he said he didn't want me, and then lucky enough, Owen Coyle reached out to my agent to go to Blackburn.
Was he at Bolton when he Owen Coyle? At one
He was
point?
at Bolton, Burnley,
That's it. Yeah.
Blackburn, but he wanted me, but he wanted me to play left back. So in my head, I was thinking, do I want to play left back?
Why did you want to play centre back?
Because I knew that was my best position.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll go there, see how it goes, play games. I just wanted to play games. I think that's the most important thing for the young players. They just need to play games.
Yeah.
I don't see the point of sitting on the bench when
Sitting
you're young.
around.
What's the point? Like,
Just asked to go out on loan.
yeah.
You
so-
also don't see many 6 foot plus fullbacks, do you?
No, not anymore. You
Fullbacks
used
are
to.
usually pretty short. I mean, relatively short, aren't
Yeah.
they? You never see a 6'4" fullback.
Yeah.
6'2", even look at Liverpool, Robertson, and Trent are both.
Yeah.
Because nowadays
I'd
you
be
have to
surprised
be
if-
quick, agile.
But even then, no. Even then, I look at fullbacks. Then they were never big, imposing people, were they?
So I was always, when I went to Blackburn, we got relegated that season. I played every game. I got Player of the Year. So I did pretty.
What a player.
From a left.
Got him relegated.
I should have been playing for it now. I'm joking.
Who was the manager at Blackburn, Derrick?
It was Owen Coyle at the time. And then he got sacked halfway.
Okay, yeah.
How sad is it that Blackburn, like when you talk about them, these are Premier League winners.
Kenny.
Like,
King
what, like, did that, when you were there, did they lean on that part of the club, that part of the history?
The fans did, yeah. So
Yeah.
they expected a lot. But you had to be realistic with the players. They weren't.
Sad where they've gone on that when you think of it. They were, like, when you think that they were our era team
Yeah.
of winning it, and then
Leeds
their
as well,
decline was so quick.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a great club. Fans are good. So when I was at Blackburn, after about 2 years, I went away with Ireland, made my debut playing left back. But when I was away with Ireland, I was training like centre half. So Seamus Coleman came up to me. He was like, "You ever play centre half?" And I was like, "I used to play centre half." He's like, "Would you not consider playing there again?" And I was like, "I would," but at the time we had Charlie Mulgrew at the club, who was a great player. Left foot was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think he scored 15 goals.
15 goals?
Yeah, in League One.
Wow.
Just his left foot. He would score from corner. So our, set pieces, the day before, we would set up set pieces, just, Charlie, right, you're going to score here. So we'd try to block the keeper, and he would just whip it. He must have scored like 3 or 4 corners.
Wow.
So he was centre half, and I was like, I want to play centre half because I know I was a solid left back. I was like steady 6 or 7, which you just reliable. I was, so I remember I went to the manager and I was like, I want to play centre half, and he was like, well, you got Charlie ahead of you, and I was like, I'd rather not play than play left back and just focus on centre half. And he was like, "You sure about that? Because you might not play for a while."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah." I was like,
So you made a strong decision.
"Yeah." So because I didn't want to have regret. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go.
I'm playing out of position my whole career. I wish I'd have known
And I was
what
only.
I could do
I
there.
was just average. I was bang average.
Yeah.
Even though I'm bang average now, but I was even worse then.
Surprised you didn't take that. Set that right up. I was like, go on, Sam, that's a
I
layup.
let the guests make their own minds up about their careers.
So eventually, Charlie got a bit older, so I stepped into centre half, and I did really well. So it was me and Darragh Lenihan, and we kind of complemented each other. He was another Irish lad. He was real physical, tough, like, and then I was kind of like to try to pass it out from the back. So
Yeah.
we balanced really well. Yeah, and it worked for a while, and then we brought in Tosin Adebayo,
Oh, yeah.
Chelsea now.
Oh, he must have been young then, mustn't he?
Yeah, he was 19, 20 at the time, but he was one of the best passers I've ever seen, like rapping it through lines.
Really?
Yeah, he was.
Where was he at the time? Fulham?
He was at Man City.
Oh, is he at Man City, boy, is he?
Yeah, he was on loan. So then
Oh, wow.
Darragh got injured, and then it was me and him for a while, and that worked well. And then in the end, Darragh came in, and then I started getting a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
So my last 2 years of Blackburn was a nightmare. I was getting calf injuries. I come back for 3 weeks, get injured for 6. It was a nightmare.
To a thingy. Well, we're going to take a quick short break, and then we're going to come back with your time finishing up at Blackburn to the MLS.
Sweet.
See you soon. Welcome back to Football or Soccer, the podcast, and we have got Derrick Williams with us to do the second half interview. Chris has had to nip out on a phone call. He's trying to do a bit of business, so he's trying to sell something. So we're gonna roll on without him, and he can join us. So we've just finished up. Oh, here he is. He's just come in from his phone call now. Wow. We are live, Chris. So Derrick, you just finished up at where we left off. You just finished up at Blackburn, or you just coming to so then LA Galaxy obviously. Chance comes up.
Yep.
Where did you have a chance to go to at that time?
So COVID just finished. So I could have. Swansea were interested. Middlesbrough spoke to my agent, and then obviously Galaxy came in, and I was like, I used to come here to LA on holidays with my missus, and we loved it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Life opportunity.
I can go to Swansea in the middle of nowhere,
Borough.
or I could go to Hollywood. So nah, but
Was it a bit of that? Was it a big lifestyle decision?
it was.
Because how old was you when you came?
I was 27, turning 28.
Which is young for what we've seen in the past of the MLS of players coming not in their peak, coming at the end of their careers. But we're seeing you've actually made the decision early.
Yep.
And we're actually seeing it a little bit more with players now, aren't we?
Yeah. So
And how many years have you been in it now? So
this is my 4th season. Yeah. Well, just finished my 4th.
yeah.
So yeah, they were interested. I chose Galaxy, and it's been unbelievable since I've been here. Like I said last time, I kind of gave up that dream of Premier League because if I'm realistic, I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
I could have got lucky, maybe got promoted with Blackburn. But even if I did get promoted, I think
They might have bought someone.
I
or...
think they would have spent the cash, and then you kind of just get seen out. So came here, and I loved it ever since playing in this league. And since I've been here, the league has just been getting better and better.
I think it's grown massively.
I wanted to ask you about that.
in a year.
Yeah. I mean, because let me ask you this. We had a question a couple of weeks ago, who would win the World Cup first, England or the USA? Do you think that's a real question? Do you think there's a trajectory where that might happen? Or
Maybe in 200 years or something.
that's
Because they are, let's be honest with you, they're 200 years behind English football.
Yeah, well, not quite, but yeah, I know what you mean.
In actual years.
Well, yeah.
I mean, when...
Certainly 100.
I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
50.
Like the athletes here.
Well,
are
that's what I
crazy.
mean. You got obviously a massive population. It's the most played sport in schools. Like, do you see? Is it hockey stick? The improvement in the levels and the skill.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Ever since I've been there, I think, and even there's such a bigger hockey stick route to go. Like since Messi come in,
That's what I was just about to ask you. Because obviously we've seen big players. Obviously Beckham opened the doors here.
That's right.
For our generation. Obviously Pele, Bobby Moore done it years ago and it didn't kind of really go anywhere from it. But no social media, no TV rights, all that then.
Yeah.
Beckham opened the door. Then we saw players, Robbie Keane, Gerrard, Ashley Cole, Thierry Henry, have all come over. Didn't really have the same effect as until now.
but they're
Carried,
probably
progressed the
incremental,
league,
aren't they?
kept it going. But
Without
this...
that, would Messi have come? Like all those
No.
players,
Yeah,
you know,
I know what
incrementally.
you're
But what Messi, and then obviously Suarez, Busquets, Alba, but Messi, let's say, is the ultimate. It seems to have been like they've just turned the tap on on the MLS.
Yeah.
The people are going, actually, this is all right. This is.
Yeah. Even
Could that be Beckham's greatest ever achievement?
Oh, without a doubt.
I mean, seriously, like with everything that man did in his playing career, which was unbelievable, and I don't think gets the credit he deserves. Again, going back to without harping onto that, but to bring the best player that's ever lived to your football club, and the implications of that. I mean, I think that's
Even-
insane, isn't it?
I think even
I mean, he
his
played
contract.
for Manchester United, AC Milan, Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain. Bringing somebody over.
But I mean, the
that's
transition
not,
he
is it?
made to owner seamlessly,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I don't
but
even
I
want to
mean,
know the
well, I
the
guess
hurdles he had to
achievements
overcome
as
to
a
make that
player.
happen. And then to then, because it's one thing getting the club up and running, but then to bring the best ever.
Yeah.
Like imagine
But
setting up a
there-
club and then having Michael Jordan come and play for
He's
you.
in.
I mean,
They got a prime location as well. Miami,
of course. Oh yeah,
as
like
well.
he knows what he was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But still, I mean.
So
that's-
have you felt that playing in the MLS since all this has happened? Have you seen changes in your 4 years to the way the clubs are run or the league in itself?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, definitely. I'm seeing younger players getting bought. I'm seeing teams spending money. For example, Galaxy spent, I think it was 11 million on a left winger. I think it was 15 million on a right winger. We just sold this season. We sold, I think it was 50 million worth of players. So we sold a left back to Chelsea for 9 million. We sold a midfielder, Thiago Almada, to Leon, that group.
yeah.
I think it was 25 plus add-ons. We sold a striker, Giacomakis, he was at Celtic, to Mexico for, I think it was 12-ish. So the money...
They've started to see that there's profit.
Yeah.
The way it's set up, for example, because it's very different to English football, isn't it? Like contract-wise and things like that.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Explain to us
Joke
a
in
little.
what way?
So in England, you as a player, you have a lot of power.
Yeah.
Here, you got none.
And actually, this has happened to you.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Is
tell
it
the
because
story.
of
So
the
you're
designated
Galaxy.
player
So-
rule? Is it because of the designated player rule? Because they're only allowed so many players over a certain amount,
Yeah,
and all
but
that
also
kind of stuff.
Yeah, but also the league owns your contracts. So the clubs don't... Like in England, the club owns your contracts.
So when
Here,
you
the
say,
league owns it.
for example, like Atlanta sold the players,
Yeah.
who gets that money?
Atlanta.
Atlanta does get the money for that. Okay. So then tell us about the contract. What happened to you? And this is quite interesting because it doesn't happen in England.
Yeah.
No, so I played 2 seasons at Galaxy. I had 1 season left. I did pretty well. So some personal things happened with the manager. End of season comes, had an interview. He said he was fine. Like, I'll see you next year.
Yeah.
I kind of had a bad feeling in my stomach, just the way he spoke. I won't get into it, but I left. I went back to England. I was in London. A week and a half later, got my hair cut. I remember I jumped in my car and I get a phone call from the GM. And I was like,
That's not.
what the hell?
GM don't usually call me.
I was like, new deal?
Oh yeah. Oh, was that good? Right.
Doubling the money or what? So
Powerful, Derrick. Powerful.
he rings me and he goes, "Oh, Derrick, you've been traded to DC United." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Is there anything I can do?" And he's like, "No, like, you're traded. It's done. It's done." Yeah. So had a minute phone call. Went home to my missus. I told her, and we just couldn't believe it. Like, you go from LA, like your dream move.
Yeah.
I thought I'd live here, retire here, just really enjoyed it. So you get traded without say. The only positive was Rooney was there, the manager.
Yeah.
So when it happened, Rooney called me, and I was a bit like, not starstruck, but I was a bit like, what, like
Yeah.
Rooney?
Well, it's
like,
a pretty
it's
like
Rooney, like
yeah.
what a player he was. So he called me. He said, "Look, I know you probably didn't want to come here, but just let you know, like, we're going to have a real go at it this year. He just said stuff that, like, when I got off the phone, I was like, looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I was
can't
like,
wait to get there now.
I can't wait to play for him.
So at that point, Derrick,
Tone, we've
They
lost
could've
you
said-
on the webcam as well, so you need to sort that out.
okay, hang on.
We've lost you. But yes, so the Rooney's called you up and said, you're in. You've now got a... So give, because everyone thinks, obviously, Premiership, like, big Premier League footballers, etc. Let's just say we use Premier League. You join a club, someone there to help, someone gets you the house, someone helps you out. This is kind of the thought of every fan.
Yeah.
What was the reality of going to DC? What happens now? You're in London.
In London. So,
Your stuff's all in LA.
Yeah, we have a house full of stuff. We were on holidays in London, so we thought, finish holidays, go back to LA, continue. So what we had to do, I had to fly my mom over. Me and Naomi had to fly to LA, pack the house up, fly to DC, look at apartments.
That you're not
houses.
talking just around the corner either. It's flights.
Yeah.
Yeah. With 2 kids.
So luckily we left
Oh,
them in London.
yeah.
So we did that over 2 days, packed the house up. We had so much stuff. I did like over here they do yard sales.
Yeah.
So I was like, I hope people will like want this stuff. So I just did a big poster, free stuff, like help yourself. And within an hour, everything's gone. Like Americans love it. They just,
Do you reckon Mo Salah would do this at Liverpool?
mate, they just
Yard sale out in Liverpool.
Mate, we had
but,
so-
it's interesting, isn't it?
Go
Like,
somewhere with that, but I won't.
it's interesting, isn't it? That you're having to now get rid of all your gear.
Yeah.
There's no one like from the clubs. You kind of
no one from
on your own,
yeah.
really.
So we did that. Flew to DC, and I think it was snowing or something. It was freezing cold. Me and Naomi were just like, what's going on?
Just
here?
left LA.
Yeah,
Best weather in
I
the world.
So we found a place, flew back to London, and then I was due in within like 4 weeks to start training. So within a week and a half, we flew to DC, sorted out the apartment.
Isn't DC a great city, though?
Uh,
I thought I'd lay that one up. I know.
Oh, the old fans of DC are going to be.
no, the fans were good actually. DC it's just a strange place. Like it's government. So like
Yeah.
I live bang in the middle of DC.
But I mean, well, on that though, is it not with all like that? It's got the history, and it's got that.
It's beautiful city.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
so clean. Like
yeah.
but it's just the
Not much going on.
no. Everyone that lives there works for the government. So
Got it.
it was tough to meet people. Everyone in our building were like diplomats, and like it was crazy. So we were there for a
They
year.
said DC though, Derrick. If they would have said like, yeah, you're going to Oklahoma, it would have been the same situation for you. You would have just had to go.
Yeah, you had to. There's nothing you can
Wow.
do.
So there's
I'd
not
want-
even a thing where you're like, listen, I don't want to go. I've got a contract with you.
Nope.
It's just no.
I've
This
heard-
is you're
I've heard one story before where a player, they tried to trade a player, and he said, "If you trade me, I'm just going to retire." So then they were like, "Okay, you can stay then." That's the only story.
would
I've
you,
heard
if
before.
it was Oklahoma, would have you retired?
Got to just go and have a go, wouldn't you?
Let me ask you
Listen,
this on the way, 'cause there's
I
no-
agree with Chris though. DC's I like DC, but I've never lived there. But I've been.
You are also a
it's
boring
beautiful.
bastard.
DC is
The only man that goes to Vegas and goes to bed at 8 o'clock.
Oh, come on. Tom.
Trust me.
What are you doing?
He
What are you
does.
doing?
And
I
and
wanna
you
ask
know
you
what?
this.
I wish he was exaggerating.
There's no relegation here, is there?
No,
So what do you so there's no jeopardy for the bottom?
no.
I think
So,
that's a mistake, isn't it?
yeah, that was the biggest difference I've noticed from here in England is like the pressure. So in England is a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Wages, you get relegated, half your money goes. The fans are on you.
What's the difference with the fans here?
The fans are good, but it's just a different experience for them. You know what American sports are like. You go to a game.
It's more fun, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
not. It's actually family fun. It's very nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
There's not that, and I always call it in England. There's not that undertow of violence.
Yeah.
That that's brewing. That you're looking around. You could go with your kids.
Yeah.
sit next to someone from the other team, because it's kind of mixed fans as well a little bit, isn't it? And be in zero problems or arguments at all, which is a nice way, but that's also what makes English League very special.
Yeah, 100%. So I went from Blackburn to getting abused every week to LA, where there's palm trees in the stadium. People are just there singing and dancing, having a good time. They're playing rap music at halftime, and even the warm-ups are playing. And it's just like, you couldn't believe it. Like, it was just.
Is it harder to get yourself up for it with a more relaxed atmosphere?
No.
Because I saw your game against Inter Miami at home, the Atlanta game. Yeah. It looked like it was rocking.
Yeah, there was,
because the way they flash all the lights, and it's pretty cool how they do that, isn't it?
I actually I don't know how the English fans would take to it, but I'd love to see that kind of go to England. Just make it more entertaining. That game you're talking about, there was 69,000.
Yeah, I know. It was incredible.
Wow. Yeah.
It was like a real party atmosphere, wasn't it? But it's very hard here, and it's hard to explain why you'll never get that atmosphere here because of the distance.
I was going to say, you don't get the away fans, do you? So you don't have like
you get
big...
some.
It's like playing the whole of Europe every week.
A corner of the stadium that is dedicated to the other side wanting to take your head off.
Yeah. You know? So it's like the pressure side of it is completely different kind of pressure. You obviously still want to win. But yeah, that was the main thing. I kind of struggled with it at the start.
Yeah.
Because you lose a game, and in the dressing rooms, it could be fights. You're coming for each other, like, what are you doing this for? At the start, it was completely different. You lose a game, it's like, right, let's next one. And I remember me and Bond, like, we had an English goalkeeper, Jonathan Bond, and we were like, what's going on here? Like, weren't as competitive.
Yeah.
There were some players that played in Europe that still had that, like...
edge.
Yeah. But the average American wouldn't have that edge compared to the average English player. But it's because it wasn't their number one sport. That was the other thing.
It's going to take time.
Have that in other sports, though.
Yeah, I think so. Because I think American football, baseball, all that it wouldn't be the same. Because you ask an English player, what's your favorite sport? It's football, 100%.
Yeah.
Here, it might be American football, it might be
baseball. And that's what we've said about this. In England, you're born into it. Like, you're usually born into football. Right, so your dad, your uncle, or someone, your mum loves football. Here, you choose to watch it, which is so the kids actually now are choosing to watch it, and they're City fans or Liverpool fans, and they might also go to LAFC here or LA Galaxy if their mums and dads take them. It's funny in England, they talk about the ticket pricing. Here is extortionate to take your family to sports.
I don't know what the prices are, to be honest with you.
Like, maybe not soccer as much, but basketball, to go and see the Lakers, so expensive.
Really?
Like, if you want, the worst seat is probably $150 to $200, isn't it?
Yeah. For a decent game, yeah.
Yeah, for a decent game. So it's tough. It's just very different here because it's so commercialised here. Like, where you're saying all that, the flashing lights and things like that. Yeah. But there is aspects of it that are good.
How long do you think it'll take before that tribalism, for want of a better word, and that history, because that's what I think what it comes from, is like, again, like your family have probably been supporting West Ham for generations. I know our family, Liverpool, generations.
I think it'll take that.
Yeah.
And that.
I think it probably could take another 50 years to get that.
Yeah. I don't think it'll ever happen.
I don't think it'll ever happen.
Why? Just because the other sports are so big?
No, just because it's changing so much. I
just think because of the away fans. Without the away fans, you can't get that.
If the USA create a competitive team and they win, the one thing you can't argue with Americans, they're winners. They absolutely are.
Oh, 100%. So no, what I mean is you can't create that tribalism if there's no other fans in the ground to scream at.
My point is, though, is if, and we were talking about this with Man City last, like you were saying, Man City is the most successful or commercially viable club in the world now. It's because they won. And everybody, the new generation of kids, everything, want to see the winner. When I was watching basketball, which I did a lot as a kid, it was Michael Jordan, obviously, because he was the best and they were the best team, and that's who you supported. And I think if the US do produce a competitive national team and they start to, then you'll see the whole of this country get behind them. And that could be
I think you are going to see a lot more kids coming. But what do the clubs need to do? because here for a child it's so expensive to play football here.
That's
like
true.
soccer,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So probably costs you close to $5,000 a year for my boy to play for Juventus. Right?
But that's also,
How
That's a
does
shame.
how does someone
But
how
Sam,
do they get over
But
that?
that's also because we live where we live. Where
Yeah,
there's no in LA because land's so
No,
expensive.
but club football is
I know,
a
but,
lot.
But there's no parks to go and play, or very few.
But
Like
if
in
there
LA,
are,
you just
there-
don't. You can't go and play on your street and kick a football around
No.
like we can.
But
or did.
if there are parks, they're baseball. Like,
Yeah.
have you noticed that?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's,
yeah,
It's
yeah.
different.
So it is it. What is it going to take to
And no
get
one's
this
got a
league?
yard. President
Yeah.
Trump exclude, but like seriously, like there's no garden. Like when we were growing up, having a garden where you could kick a football around wasn't necessarily a luxury. In terms of but in the big cities here, you can't play.
So
But
where,
also, what you were saying about it getting bigger, I think it is getting bigger. Like Atlanta, our average attendance is like 45,000.
it's huge.
That's amazing,
It's
isn't
more
it?
than most Premiership games.
Yeah.
At
that's
Blackburn,
huge.
it was.
I think
at
I saw the
Blackburn, it was
TV rights or
17.
something. I think MLS is third or second for TV rights. Of
Well,
what, so
think of it
people
like
are watching
this way.
Well, by the way,
Think of it like this
Carragher,
way.
Neville are coming over doing the podcast here. Sorry, Tom.
No, go on, mate. Go on.
No. I was just saying. I mean, there's definitely like Carragher, Neville, who are probably the two most prominent pundits now in the UK, right? They're now bringing their.
Well, the World Cup
over
coming
there.
area, I think, is the big opportunity, which they probably never capitalised on in '94. They probably weren't set up for it last time it was here. And there is a big. You got Club World Cup here this summer, and then the following summer you got the World Cup. So that is football is coming. How long do you think it'll be before the academy systems? Well, before the academy systems, I suppose.
Mate, they're
leagues, like different leagues,
Good, right?
They're good.
Yeah, I know.
Mate,
Yeah,
that's-
I think
That's one thing I've been surprised about. As soon as I got the Galaxy, you look at the underages, they're technically very good.
very good.
Like
This is my point.
because they have like a philosophy all the way down. They're not chopping and changing managers constantly. They're saying, right, this is how we want you to play. It might be in England the same now, but they're so technically so good. And because they have players coming from South America,
Yeah.
and then just the athletes that Americans are,
Yeah.
they're getting.
In my boy's age, the Mexican, the kids, the South American kids, like Mexico especially, the kids are far superior.
Yeah.
They're stronger, they're big, and it's funny. Then genetics takes over, and then they actually don't get to where they are as the teams get a little bit older. That's something that I think Mexico need to look at because they have got some. Their kids are absolute ballers.
But we've talked about this as well. Like the key with it is the sheer weight of numbers, coupled with the incredible training they're going to get, just the amount of people you have in this country, and also you're not handicapped by
And the
size,
will to
like-
win in sport.
Well, yeah, but also again, like with all the other sports, basketball, maybe baseball, even NFL. If you're not a unit for the most part, you're not going to succeed. You're handicapped by your physical attributes to a certain point. There are obviously exceptions, and football is maybe almost the opposite. In that, I mean, how tall is Lionel Messi? What is he? 160 soaking wet and
5'6".
exactly. So I mean,
Yeah.
and he's the best player ever. So I think there's just my point is there's more people with compelling training that I think they will succeed quicker.
I think this will be. I actually do think the MLS will become one of the top leagues in the world.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, 100%.
Well,
And if
one
you'd
of
have
the
asked me
things
that,
that we've never had ever up until right now is American. They call it U.S. men's national team, right? For me, it's just USA. Or there's quite a few players who play for that team that play in the top leagues in Europe.
yeah,
and that's
McKennie and
never
Ware come on
happened
yesterday
before.
and won the game for Juve. Pulisic
Yeah,
at AC
well,
Milan.
you've got Weah, who I know, like, it's George Weah's son. He's not strictly, American, but he was born and I guess brought up in the USA. And then you've got, is it Reina at Dortmund?
yeah.
Yeah.
There's loads. Robinson
obviously
at Fulham, left back.
Pulisic
Yeah,
as
there's
well.
some. I say this. But do you think we're far off seeing new? Is there talk about like leagues below coming in?
There is one. There's one called USL.
Yeah, but you don't. But a relegation and because that's one thing Americans don't like is jeopardy. They don't like a consequence because and I think
Makes
that's
it more
where.
interesting though, as well, doesn't it?
Unfortunately for America, I think they're going to have to give that bit up? Because no one wants to lose money
I don't think they ever will.
because it's a capitalist country. So
No,
they
but-
only want to...
But also, say you're an investor. San Diego, I think they paid $650 million to bring a team.
That's a good point.
If you're an investor and
Business around it, yeah.
do you want to put in $650 million?
With a chance to go down.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, but I mean...
why not just do that and then you're secure? You're just.
But without that, then I don't think it ever becomes a top league in the world. I think
No,
with
I
it, when you
think
add
it
that
will
in,
never
I think
become a
it
top
does
league in the
become
world.
top league in the world.
Yeah. I just think once you get the players.
I actually think it overtakes Italy really
I think
quickly.
the wage cap is a big thing.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask you
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Like, how do you have a more of a free market where the market decides?
I think it's going to slowly get in there. But
Well, I think what you're going to see is it's more of this development of player league where you're going to see a lot more, because as you say, the kids are technically very good here. So I think what you're going to do is you're going to have a pathway to actually play in their top league and then probably be sold off to Europe and things like that.
so you saying that, I played with a right back at Galaxy, Julian Araujo. He got sold to Barcelona. He was 20, 21. He's at Bournemouth now playing. Right
Yeah.
back. I seen yesterday DC United, a centre back I used to play with, is 18-year-old, just sold to Bournemouth for 2.5 million. They're coming over and taking young players now.
Because
they're decent players.
they are decent, and they're strong, they're quick. Like they got the sports science here. You know, they're very advanced in all these things.
Yeah.
The US, but so it's interesting. So where are you before we wrap up? So you're back to Atlanta.
Yeah.
How long
So-
you got left?
I got 1 year and then 1 year option.
Yeah.
I got a quick story actually just before you're saying about the contract details. So when I was at DC, the season finished, because I wasn't playing in America long enough, it's so confusing. I had to go into a draft. So I'm not even a free agent. So I had, again, no say of where I'm going.
Wow.
So I was in LA with you playing golf.
Oh yeah, I was trying to get him other clubs. We're calling agents.
Yeah. So my agent rings me and he was like, "Oh, Atlanta are interested," and I loved the stadium and all that. I was interested. So what they had to do, because they were like 15th pick in this draft, so there was 15 other teams I had to pick, and I'm in this draft with hundreds of players. So Atlanta had to buy the number one spot, so they paid Toronto a certain fee to get number one spot, and then they picked me.
Really? You're number one draft?
But it just shows how like complicated things are.
Yeah,
It was just,
and that's one of the problems. They overcomplicate a little bit when actually it could be a bit easier.
they just make it sure that the club have a lot of power.
Yeah.
I think.
because they want
Der-
the clubs to have the money.
Derrick, before we wrap it up, mate, we can't finish without asking you what it was like playing under the greatest English player of all time. Wayne Rooney. I mean, that must
Yeah.
have been some experience.
Yeah, it was. I loved it. I got on really well with him. He goes.
Did
the
he know
more
you supported Liverpool?
Yeah, but he goes. I actually asked him the Steven Gerrard, Scholes, Lampard question. I said, if you had one game, who are you choosing out of three? You have to win the game. He said Gerrard, but then he also
Did
said,
he really?
yeah, but then he also said about
No,
Scholes.
stop there.
Ah, see,
I'm going to cut that bit. Yeah. Got what we
But
need.
yeah, it was quality. He goes more man management, so he'll talk to you one on one. But it was class. Like, he'd get involved in training. He'll do free kicks and just whip it in top corner. And you're just like,
Wazza, your boss,
Unreal.
just whipping corners and free
And
kicks.
he-
I loved him, by the way, even though he played for United.
the day before games, like the free kick takers would be taking him, and he'd be like, just wait there, lads, and like just push the boys away, and then he'd just be whipping them. He's like, look, that's how you do it. And all. It was just ledge. Like, he had good banter as well. He knew when to get involved with the boys. Like, and he was class.
And he's he's at Plymouth at the moment, and
Yeah.
he seems to be maybe taking jobs that are a bit too hard at the moment. I don't know if he's obviously impatient, wants to go in. Maybe they're not the right clubs. Birmingham wasn't the right fit for him. I'd like to see him do well.
I'm going
think
to finish
everyone-
Yeah, I
on
would
the
too.
managers because we talk about managers a lot. Who do you think was the best manager? Who got the most out of you? Who was and why?
Two. So Steve Cottrell at Bristol City, he gave me that that kind of tough love. He was old school. Yeah, there was one game he threw a plate of sandwiches at halftime and it hit right here. And sandwich just like hit my cheek and just he just in my face, like just calling you every name under the sun, but it gets you ready. It gives you like thick skin.
Yeah.
Like him, and then I'll go Tony Mowbray at Blackburn.
Oh, old school legend.
Yeah, I really like playing with Tony. He's just the guy he is. He's just quality. He's just them two.
Mega.
Well, thank you
Thanks
so
for
much
that,
for your
Derek.
time today. We
you,
really, really appreciate it. I hope everyone enjoyed it. So we will see you soon. Remember, subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and what's the other one? Apple.
Yeah.
Forget
just
what
that
they are.
little bit. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you soon.
See you guys.